So let's talk about porn. And I'm not talking about that kind of porn. No, that's not it. I'm talking about inspiration porn. You may not have heard of it, but it's a very popular phrase that has been coined by Stella Young, and you will have seen it possibly in a TED Talk. If you haven't seen it, I will put a link in the description for you, but you should check it out because she talks about a phrase called inspiration porn, and she defines it as a way to objectify one group of people for the benefit of another group of people. So in this case, we're objectifying disabled people for the benefit of non-disabled people. The purpose of these images is to inspire you, to motivate you, so that we can look at them and think, well, however bad my life is, it could be worse. I could be that person. If you use the internet at all, I can guarantee you that you would have come across these kind of situations where it's either an image or a video or a feel-good article where they objectify disabled people. They're doing something simple, something basic, and there could be a text over it, some kind of motivational quote, or doing something normal that we would consider normal. For non-disabled people, they look at it and think, wow, that's inspiring. And because of that, the problem with inspiration porn is that non-disabled people will look at a disabled person as object and will look at the differences and will think that, you know what, if that person has this problem, then I should be able to do the same thing as that person. And in some cases, they might be able to say, oh, maybe I can do more than that person because that person is disabled. Can you see the problem? Let me get into a bit more, because obviously I'm going to be talking about deafness in this case, and a few examples of videos or articles or these things that are related to disabled people in general are those pictures where you see a disabled person could be using prosthetic limbs or wheelchair user, and there's some kind of quote on top of it like, what's your excuse today? Or your excuse is invalid. Or something like, don't give up, try. And in case of deafness, the most common thing that you see are babies able to hear the first time. And there are a ton of them on the internet. And you might see it as something that is quite nice, isn't it? Because a baby is able to hear the mother, which is obviously important for a lot of parents, and they want to be able to communicate, interact, especially if they are hearing parents. But here comes the problem, because at first instant it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy, you're smiling, you might even get emotional because some of the videos you see the baby crying and the perception is that immediately problem solved, that's it, we've found a solution, happy days, let's get on with our life because that baby will be fine for the rest of its life as well. But the real story is that nobody sees what goes on behind the scene, and especially for the deaf children themselves, about language deprivation and language acquisition and speech therapy, and they will have to go through years, if not decades, of speech therapy and be able to acquire languages just so they're able to connect with the outside world, just so they're able to have a job, just so they're able to have all the things that we all see as normal. The reason they have to go through that is because there's a lot of perception that the only way you can get a job or education is to acquire languages this way. If you don't, you will fall behind, you will miss out, you will get lost, and you will not live the life that you want unless you go through that process. Now, of course, sometimes it works. For some people, they go through that phase of years of therapy and years of practice and all these things behind the scene. It worked for some people, but it doesn't work for all. I've been through it. I absolutely hated it because it just felt pointless to me. But I had to go through it for my own reason, but I didn't do it for years and years like other people. And that may be because I can hear certain things, and for other people, they are more profoundly deaf. But people don't see what goes on behind the scene. People see it as these videos of like, feel good, I feel better about myself, also as an inspiration, saying like, you know what, at least I can do this because then I'm able to live my life and that baby will not be able to. But you know what, that baby has this, it's fine, we can move forward. But you have to look from a bigger picture. You have to look from the outside and look at the whole situation around it. Just don't look at it on that 30-second video and you can decide everything about that baby and that's it. It's just not the way it works. This also applies to disabled people who are in have their own disabilities, whether it's wheelchair users or anything like that, and we see them as an inspiration because they managed to get on the train or they managed to get off the bed and brush their teeth, and that's not how it should be. People see them as an inspiration for doing normal thing, and that's where the issue lies, because we should be seeing them as the norm, as normal people, and we should be seeing deaf people as the norm as well. The problem is it's not, and that is the problem, is that we have to live our life in a way that we have to make the best use of our body that we're either born with or in an adjusted state, and we have to just go with that. On top of that, we also have to live with a way that the society around us is built. And what I mean by that is, if it's not acceptable, then we have to find a way around that. Now, in my case, the most obvious example is captions. If I want to go to watch something on the videos on internet or cinema or TV, I need captions. But it's not always available for whatever reason. And that is the issue I face. I have to go around it in some way. So of course, there are challenges. Of course, we have to fight for certain things. But being able to go off the bed or being able to do certain things like having a job is not something that should be seen as an inspiration for anyone, and especially for those who are not disabled. It should be seen as a normal thing, and it should be seen as part of everyday life. I've heard so many ridiculous comments about deafness, whether it's to myself or to other people, and I've done a video about this, about things that you should not say or dumb things that people say to deaf people. I've done that. You can check it out in the description. But some of the things I hear is like, oh, you're deaf? Well, you're doing well for yourself. Oh, you don't look deaf. And apparently a lot of women get this: you're too pretty to be deaf. Which does not make sense whatsoever. And the only thing I can think of about that statement is deaf people are ugly, or I thought deaf people are not good looking, or stuff like that, and which is ridiculous. It's stupid. Just don't say that. Everybody will have to live with their body, and they try to live the best way they can. It doesn't matter if you're disabled or not. We are either born with what we have, or we have to adjust along the way because of whatever reason. I grew up with mine, that's all I know. You grew up with yours, and that's all you know. And maybe along the line, as we get older or as we go through life, our body will change in a way that we're not expecting, or if it's expected, like getting older. Doesn't matter. We have to adjust to what our body gives us, and we make the most of it. At the same time, what goes on behind the scene for you, for me, for everyone, it's very different to what those inspiration porn images and videos and all these things that you've seen. It doesn't tell the full story. So you should be very careful when you look at it and see it as an inspiration. Why is it an inspiration for you? And that's something I would love to know, actually. If you have that feeling, let me know in a comment, because it is not seen as a positive thing for those who are deaf, for those who are disabled, all these things. It's not a positive thing. And I get there are sometimes no malice intended. It's meant to be a compliment for people when they say you are an inspiration. But I can tell you that in the real story, in the real world, it's not seen as inspiring. We're not there for your inspiration, and it's nothing special if we manage to brush our teeth in the morning, or in my case, I manage to have a job or a business or doing the everyday thing that you do as well. That's not inspiring at all. If I manage to cure cancer and create world peace and end world hunger, then okay, you can use that as an inspiration, and that would be a good thing, of course. But I don't think I've done anything that is inspiring by doing an everyday thing like you are. Of course, there are nothing wrong with technology. I wear hearing aid to help me, and there are other technologies that can help deaf people to access certain things, to advance a bit further. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be wearing any of these technologies or using them. The problem is when people assume that it cures all, and it doesn't cure all. It's just an assistant. The key word in hearing aids is aid. It aids me. It doesn't cure it. It doesn't make it like a normal hearing like everyone else. It's there to provide assistance. And it's very, very important that you don't see it as an end to a mean. And that is the danger of inspiration porn, and that's the danger of spreading it so far and people seeing like all you need is a hearing aid and that's it, problem is solved. But that is not the case. But what I would really like as well is, and this is something that I have not grown up with, is I want it to be seen as normal. Anything, deafness, disability, all these things, I want it to be seen as normal. So if someone you see is a wheelchair user, that's normal. If someone you see has a cochlear implant, that's normal. That is what it should be. But the problem is inspiration porn does not help with that. I can go on for ages about this, but I would like to make sure that you check out the link in the description and learn more about this topic. See some sources of bad examples of inspiration porn that has been used in a negative way and detrimental for a lot of people, and other sorts of inspiration where it's actually more positive and it's actually more inspiring to watch, because the word inspiration is not a bad word. No, I don't want to make it a bad word, but how you perceive it is important. So make sure you check out the link in the description. And also, I would love to know what you think. What is your experience with inspiration porn? What do you think of it? What do you think of when you see these images and videos? Let me know in the comments, and I would love to hear from you. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you come back again for more topic around this. And of course, I will speak to you again soon. Take care.